When power leaves a person, it doesn't happen with noise. It doesn't happen with violence. It happens in something much smaller. A sentence spoken too honestly. A weakness revealed too early. A truth offered to the wrong eyes. And the strange thing is, most people never realize when it happens. They walk away from the conversation feeling lighter, relieved, even proud of their openness. They believe they've built trust. They believe they've strengthened connection. But somewhere, deep inside the other person's mind, something has shifted. The image has cracked. The mystery has dissolved. The balance has changed. Because the moment someone fully understands you, they stop imagining you. And when they stop imagining you, they stop fearing you. And when they stop fearing you, they stop respecting you in the same way. This is not cruelty. This is human nature. Robert Greene spent decades studying the hidden laws that govern power, influence, and survival. He studied kings who lost their thrones, generals who lost their armies, and ordinary individuals who lost their place in the invisible hierarchy of human relationships. And again, he discovered the same quiet pattern. Their downfall did not begin when they failed. It began when they revealed too much of themselves. Not their enemies, not their mistakes, themselves. Because power lives in what people cannot see. It lives in uncertainty. It lives in the unanswered question. When you were a child, you didn't understand this. You spoke freely. You revealed your fears, your dreams, your insecurities, believing honesty was always strength. And for a time, it was. Children are protected by innocence, but adults live in a different world. A quieter world. A colder one. A world where information is currency. Imagine standing in a crowded room. People are talking, laughing, revealing fragments of their lives. One person complains about their struggles. Another reveals their ambitions too eagerly. Someone else confesses their fears without realizing what they're offering. And in the corner of the room, there is one person who simply listens. They do not rush to fill silence. They do not explain themselves unnecessarily. They do not offer their wounds for display. They exist, calm and unreadable. And without realizing why, everyone in the room feels it. They feel drawn to them and cautious of them, because the human mind is disturbed by what it cannot fully see. The moment you reveal your deepest fear, you hand someone a map. They may never use it. They may never speak of it, but they will know where to strike if they ever need to. Not because they are evil, but because they are human. And humans are unpredictable when survival, pride, or desire enters the equation. There was once a man who believed transparency made him strong. He shared his plans openly. He spoke of his future before it arrived. He told people what he hoped to become. He thought he was inspiring them. He thought he was inviting support. But something unexpected happened. Their behavior changed. Some smiled less sincerely. Some offered subtle discouragement. Some began competing with him in ways they never had before. And some simply watched him more carefully. Because when you reveal your destination, you also reveal your vulnerability. You reveal where you can be delayed, distracted, stopped. Ambition, when exposed too early, becomes fragile. It invites interference. It invites judgment. It invites resistance from people who were never part of your journey to begin with. And slowly, without understanding why, the man's path became heavier. Not because he was weak, but because he had allowed too many eyes to see his unfinished form. There is a reason shadows feel powerful. It is not because they are stronger. It is because they are unknown. People cannot predict what they cannot fully see. This is why those who move silently often move the furthest, because they are not burdened by the expectations, projections, and hidden resistance of others. Another mistake people make is revealing their emotional wounds too freely. They speak of betrayal. They speak of rejection. They speak of moments that broke them, and they believe this makes them relatable. And sometimes it does, but it also changes how people see them, not consciously, not cruelly, but permanently. Because once someone sees where you were broken, they can never unsee it. They may sympathize. They may comfort you. But somewhere, beneath their kindness, they will always remember that fracture. And in moments of conflict, tension, or competition, that knowledge does not disappear. It waits. The most dangerous people in the world are not the loudest. They are not the most aggressive. They are the most controlled. The ones who feel deeply, but reveal selectively. They understand that emotions are real, but exposure is optional. They understand that once something leaves their mouth, it no longer belongs to them. It belongs to the world. And the world does not always protect what it is given. In the 48 Laws of Power, Greene wrote that mystery attracts attention, respect, and influence. Because humans are creatures of interpretation. When they cannot fully see you, they fill the gaps themselves. And often, they fill those gaps with admiration, curiosity, and caution. But when everything is visible, when nothing is left unsaid, when every thought and fear and dream is exposed, there is nothing left to imagine. And without imagination, there is no aura. Without aura, there is no psychological distance. And without distance, there is no power. There is another danger in revealing too much of yourself. It slowly changes how you see yourself. Every time you explain your fears aloud, you reinforce them. Every time you justify your limitations, you accept them more deeply. Every time you seek validation for your path, you make yourself dependent on approval. And dependence is the quiet enemy of freedom. The strongest individuals move with internal certainty. They do not need to announce their intentions for them to become real. They do not need witnesses to validate their evolution. Because they understand something most people never learn. Energy leaks through exposure. Every word spoken unnecessarily drains something invisible, something subtle, something that could have been used to build, to grow, to transform. This is why silence often feels heavy, not because it is empty, but because it is full of potential, full of control, full of possibilities that have not yet been limited by definition. There is a reason powerful figures throughout history spoke less than others. It was not arrogance, it was awareness. They knew that once people define you, they stop discovering you. And once people stop discovering you, they stop fearing what you might become. Think about the moments when you felt most powerful. It was not when you explained yourself endlessly. It was not when you revealed every thought. It was when you stood calm, composed, and certain, even if uncertainty existed beneath the surface. Because power is not the absence of weakness. It is the absence of exposure. You can feel fear without revealing fear. You can have doubt without revealing doubt. You can have ambition without announcing ambition. And in doing so, you preserve something sacred, your psychological independence. There is a quiet shift that happens when you begin to understand this. You stop reacting impulsively. You stop explaining yourself to people who never asked with genuine curiosity. You stop seeking relief through exposure, and slowly, something changes in how people see you. They listen more carefully. They watch more closely. They treat your presence differently, not because you demanded respect, but because you stopped giving away the parts of yourself that made you predictable. Predictability creates comfort, but unpredictability creates authority. And authority, even in its quietest form, shapes the invisible structure of every human interaction. You realize that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone has earned the right to see your unfinished form. Not everyone needs to know where you are going before you arrive, because the journey belongs to you, not to the observers, not to the doubters, not to the curious spectators who will never carry your weight, just you. And in that realization, something returns, something you didn't realize you had lost. Control. Not control over others, but control over your own narrative. You begin to move differently, speak differently, exist differently, not with fear, but with awareness, because you finally understand that the rarest form of strength is not dominance. It is restraint. And in a world where everyone is desperate to be seen, desperate to be understood, desperate to reveal themselves completely, the one who reveals the least often becomes the one no one can control.